Hello and welcome, family, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways, family, and for real, that you are moving into living in your own narrative as much as possible. That you have crafted your own story, that you've kind of analyzed everything that's happening in the world, everything the scriptures have said, everything the different prophecies out there have said of such a time as this, even the native Indian prophecies, and that you have a concept of a bigger than what they're telling you of what is really going on. Because if you're following mainstream media, they're giving you like 1% of the story of the bigger galactic war, spiritual war that is now seeping through the dimensions to where we are right here on the 3D, as they always like to tell us. Thank you so much to everyone that supports us on Patreon. We appreciate, love you so much. Your donations enable us to continue to make this show our priority and release daily shows on the Wake Up Africa News. If you'd like to support the channel, the links are down below. Family. Several of you had sent me this story talking about how New York had put out a public service announcement in case of a nuclear attack, and this left many residents confused, wondering like, what did I miss? There's one guy who was like, I just saw a video about what to do if a nuclear attack happens in New York City, and as someone who lives there, is there something I should know about? Exactly. So out of nowhere, the mayor of New York releases this public service announcement. And the first thing that I noticed, family, is that they used a melanated woman to deliver this message. Now, I've talked a lot about how this is a feminine planet and all these things, but those are stories for other days. She talked about how, it was a nuclear preparedness public service announcement that was given earlier this week, and she talked about how, this was how she even started the thing. Listen to these words, family. So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask how or why. Just know that that a big one has hit. Okay, so what do we do? Don't ask how or why. What are they not telling you, family? At first I went and I was checking out, hey, what has Putin said? What's going on with Putin? Because he's all out there saying that, he's actually threatened to place missiles with nuclear heads in Belarus in the coming months against NATO, all this stuff. So there's a lot of back and forth. But I was like, what if it's because of these spiritual beings? What if, like, the war is actually happening? That's why the colliders are on. Because it's not only the hard-on collider that's been turned on. There's been some green skies. I think, is it in North or South Dakota, where there's another massive particle collider. Like, what if the war is going on and you either see it or you don't? Like right here. What if they're not just preparing their people? I mean, anybody could be behind this at this point, family. That's what I was feeling. Could be aliens. Could be them, a September 9/11 kind of situation. And when you remember all those, or you recall all those movies that show, like, something massive hitting New York, and New York being underwater, what do they know is coming that we don't know? That's why I say, family, be in your own narrative, man. You can't be relying on these people to be telling you what's happening in the world. You can't. You'll be so lost. If you are parents, you're putting your children's lives in jeopardy. You need to go deeper into the stories that they're trying to silence right now. Even support those alternative voices where you can. And pay attention to what they're saying. Because the only advice she gave in the end, and she was like, if this was to happen, go inside, you know, move away from the windows, go to the middle of the house, and then wait for communication on social media. You don't want to be one of those people, family. You don't want to be one of those people. Which is why I keep saying, get out of the cities already. Have a place where you can go. Have food stocked up. Because you are at the mercy of whatever. If you're just living your quote-unquote best life, and then a nuclear attack happens in freaking New York, and you go to your house and you just have food for a couple of days. Like, do you think if something of that magnitude happened that they'd have food, that supermarkets and banks and all these things would just open up? And petrol stations and all this stuff? So we have to develop that prepared mindset. Like, if you have to stay in the New Yorks of this world, the New Yorks of this world are even like the Nairobis of this world, man. London, Madrids, Barcelonas, these big, big cities. That's where like the matrix is strongest. If you have to stay there, then really be prepared, family. Have a prepared mindset of what you would do. Like going inside and hiding in the middle of your house and waiting for the government to tell you what to do next is not the place you should be when there's so much information available right now. There's even this guy, I think he's called Urban Prepper. He's done some amazing shows. Remember, I keep saying prepare, prepare, prepare. Stock up on food. Because if they're already putting this out in the atmosphere, trust me, it's coming down, as High Priestess or Set would say, it's coming down that pipe. Family, you see, if you're relying on mainstream media to tell you how much time you have left, then you're going to be caught in a sitting duck situation. There's so many of us who have, you know, the army of YouTubers and people on different platforms who are here to share the information, to share the spiritual downloads we get when we're in communion with the Most High. They've all been saying the same thing in their own voices, in their own way. That something is coming, family. So many have talked of preparedness, and there's so many good channels out there. I've talked about it so many times on this show, and people have left comments of the kind of people you should check out. I mean, imagine if you're buying food at the supermarket and you don't have food stocked up and you're not growing your own food. What happens then? Like, if you're in a city right now, you need to seriously look into how do you cultivate food indoors. And I mean, this makes it sound all simple and everything, but it's not. And you know, the mayor received a lot of criticism because I think within 24 hours it got like 500,000 views or whatever. And the mayor actually, he defended his actions, you know, and he said that I don't think it was alarmist. I'm a big believer in better safe than sorry. This was right after the attacks in Ukraine, and OEM took a very proactive step to say, let's be prepared. It doesn't mean just a nuclear attack. It means any natural disaster. Pack a bag, know your medicines, where your medicines are located. These are just smart things to do. Stock up, family. We've told you about having that go bag. I don't know where we will get up and go bag. Where you have the essentials that can help you survive for as long as whatever, you know, something you can carry comfortably. There's just so many habits we have to be getting into. Having your tank close, you know, your fuel tank close to full. All these things, if you'll even have the car to use. But, you know, just be prepared. That's all I can say. And at least mentally prepared, family. Watch what they're saying about what scenarios would look like in urban cities. Watch the preppers who talk about how you prepare yourself in cities, in dense situations. because then it will be literally a purge situation. If everyone is told to go indoors, some are their friends, some are wherever, I mean, it's just not, you know, if that has to go on for weeks, maybe months, you can see how that would end up. So family, the only reason I'm even sharing this with you and with our wider melanated family is to say that things are heating up, things are accelerating. Don't get tired preparing. If you're moved to relocate, relocate as quickly as possible. If you have the means, build a little shack for yourself off-grid somewhere and stock it up with seeds, at least the beans, the dry, you know, and the grain, fuel, water purification, tablets, etc., etc. But already be thinking, if sugar hits the fan where I am, what's my plan? Because right now we're all in that situation where we should be thinking, if sugar hits the fan, you know, the fan, what's my plan? For some of us, we're facing political unrest, like here in Kenya, and also shortages of food, etc., etc. So I've kind of tried to shield myself from that by storing fuel, by having a farmer who even grows a delicious organic food, whose number I have, who I can always connect with for food. So at least I know that resource isn't running out. I'm growing food on my farm. You see, like, start thinking like that, family, for real, please. For those who are prepared, we are in the best of times. For those who are unprepared, we are about to get into the worst of times, or we're already in the worst of times for them. Stay uplifted, families. Stay prepared. Keep preparing. Don't get tired. And listen to Spirit, because Spirit will lead you where you need to go, what community you need to be in, where you need to settle for a season, for a reason, or forever. Until next time, tuko pamoja. Looking for a conscious community, or for people, you know, who are on their awakening journey, on their transition to an off-grid living in your country, well, we have the solution, family. We're calling it Unity Communities. We get so many emails every week from people who ask if I know of people in their region, or people in their city, or people in their town who are on a similar kind of journey, who have broken away or are breaking away from the religious psychosis, and they're looking for just people who think the same way in their town, in their city. But more importantly, to give us a community where we feel understood, understood, overstood, where we can bond with people of like mind. And if you feel called to be part of this, definitely email me at drmumbishow.com. Please put your country in the subject line with Unity Communities. Get in touch with me, Dr. Mumbi at drmumbishow.com. Unity Communities.
Wake up, Africa!